WFM 91.7.
Are you a woman who is keen on breaking the bias? Are you looking for a welcoming community with a strong support system that empowers the female gender? Do you need a safe space that is candid, original, and authentic like the queen you are? Then this is the program for you. Tune in to Real Women Real Talk with Kiki Okewale on Women Radio 91.7 FM every Friday by 5 p.m. as Kiki Okewale brings on different leading women who will give you a bite into their growth journey and how they beat all odds to become who they are today. Real Women Real Talk.
Good evening. Wow, thank God it's Friday again. How are you? How's your week been? Especially with the fuel hike, increase in transportation, and the increase in foodstuff, and of course, no increment in salary. Well, at least yet for some, and the groceries, everything is just so expensive right now. So really, how are you doing? How are you holding it down? How are you keeping it together? How are you putting your head above water to make sure that, you don't think it is well, and I know that it can only get better. So I want you to say with me that this year, regardless, when the world says there's a casting down, I will say there's a lifting up. I would even go ahead and put my name into this. I, Kiki Okewale, will say there is a lifting up, even when the world says there is a casting down. All right, welcome to Real Women Real Talk with me. I am your host, Kiki Okewale. And on this program, we help women achieve all-round transformation. Of course, that includes your career, your home, your finances, your health, and one important one, emotional well-being. We want to make sure that, your emotional well-being is going great as well. So we help you towards your journey of purpose and fulfillment. I totally believe that you're special, and I believe that you're enough, and that you're here for a divine purpose. So come to think about it, like I always say, out of all the 8 billion people in the world, no one else has your DNA, no one else has your fingerprints, meaning that, honestly, there's absolutely no one quite like you. So that's why I always like to start the show with one of my favorite songs, Enjoy. It's called Like You by Tatiana Manoy. Stay with me.
You gotta get up. You gotta get up and make a move. 'Cause the world will never see you until you do. No, they don't really care what you're going through. So you gotta show them, baby. You gotta show them the real you. You gotta give them what you've got. No, don't let them see what you're not. 'Cause you are strong. You are wise. You are worth beyond 1,000 reasons why. And you can be perfect, baby. 'Cause nobody's perfect, darling. But no, 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 there's nobody in the world like you. What do you do when you can't let go? What do you say when you just don't know how you feel? And nobody knows how you feel. 'Cause everybody's got their own damn problem. So everybody's trying to find their way. And day by day is a struggle. In this world, you have...
It's such a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful song. And I absolutely love the fact that, truthfully, you need to show the world who you are, what you've got, the value you carry, the grace you carry, all the things that you can do for them to truly know who you are. Like they always say, if you don't blow your own trumpet or you don't tell people, what you can do, they will tell you what you cannot do or what they think they can do. So at the long run, the most important thing is for you to know who you are, know what you carry, know what you can do, and live your life to the maximum. Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. So that's one of my favorite songs. Make sure you go listen to it. I wish I can play the whole thing, but of course I would, want to talk to you about why we are here today. So, but the most important thing for you to remember is there is no one quite like you. And always remember that you have to get up, you have to make a move, because the world will never see you until you see yourself. And there is absolutely no one quite like you. So the radio program is brought to you by What Tribe, also known as Women High Achievers Tribe. What is a global community of high-value women on a mission to impact and connect powerful women in Africa and the rest of the world. So listen to this short message from What Tribe, and I'll be right back.
When you are just looking at your phone and smiling anyhow, you don't hammer.
Yes, so it is this community of women I just joined. So many inspiring posts, so many amazing women. I am smiling because just yesterday was the market day of the community. And guess what? I posted my business and I am already sold out in less than 5 hours. Can you even imagine how amazing that is?
Why did you tell me about this community since? Please, what is it about and how can I join
you? It is the Women High Achievers Tribe, aka What Tribe community.
Really? What is this What Tribe about? How do I join, I beg?
What Tribe is a global community of high-value women on a mission to impact and connect powerful women in Africa and the rest of the world. They promote women empowerment, personal development, and sisterhood support. And that is not even all. They also encourage every woman to be authentic, build successful businesses, learn valuable life skills, and even cultivate mutually beneficial relationships.
And all of this?
That is not even all. They help you grow as a person, encourage you to be yourself. Do you know they even organize hangouts, conferences, and exhibitions where members meet to connect, network, eat, drink, whilst marketing and positioning themselves?
Wow, really?
Yes. And do you even know the best part?
Tell me, oh.
It is absolutely free. Yes, free to join the community.
Oh, wow. That sounds like something I would be interested in. Why didn't you tell me since now? Please sign me up. Give me details now. You know I'm ready to pay for mind-building opportunities.
Oh, yeah, now. Let's go there. Sharply visit bit.ly/what community or follow them on Instagram at What Tribe. And you can also visit the website at www.womenhighachieverstribe.com to learn more.
Thank you, my sister. I will join this high-value community right away. This one will not pass me by at all.
All right. Absolutely, absolutely. That is quite interesting. So the question I have for you is, have you joined the community? Are you a part of the What Tribe community? Because you've heard a lot of things that we do, activities, personal development, growth, and all of that. So definitely go be a part of the What Tribe community. All right, so let's talk about why we're here today. Let me start, like I always do, with the quote of the day. And my quote for today says, stories have to be told or they die. Stories have to be told or they die. And when they die, we can't remember who we are or why we are here. That was from a monk. Another one says there is no greater agony than bearing an untold story inside you. That is from Maya Angelou. So welcome back. You're still listening to Real Women, Real Talk. I am still your host, Kiki Okewale. So today's show, we will be discussing empowering women through storytelling. And joining me on the conversation, I have today an amazing, phenomenal woman that I really, really admire. Her hard work, her tenacity, her strong will, all of these things, I really do appreciate them. So I have with me here today Esther Alaribe, a practicing broadcast journalist. Esther Alaribe is a graduate of mass communication and currently works with Women Radio 91.7, where she heads the programs department. She is a gender advocate and a voice for women. You already know that on this program, we are very, very, very female-centric, right? So we always bring different guests, different people to come and, talk to us about different things. And I particularly love the topic today because really, when we don't share the stories, how do people get to know about it, right? So I'm super excited. Thank you so much for being here, Esther. How are you doing today?
Good evening. I'm doing great, and it's a pleasure being on the program this evening.
I am so excited to have you because I've listened to you back to back, and the fact that we're doing this together today means a lot to me. So thank you for making yourself available to be here today.
Thank you for having me on the program today.
All righty. So the phone lines are open, and the numbers to call are 07000 917 917, or you can send a text or WhatsApp message on 070-317-56537 to be a part of the conversation. You can also listen via the website, www.wfm917.com, or download the mobile app, WFM917. Okay, so I have lots of questions for Esther today, particularly because usually she is the one on this end, but today she's my guest. So I know that, I know, right? Reverse is the case. You're used to asking people questions, but today I am on, I'm in charge, and you're on the hot seat. So I'm excited about that. Thank you. So the first question I ask for you, Esther, is as a broadcast journalist with expertise in storytelling, because I love storytelling. In my business, different businesses that I do, I'm able to sell a story even through even if I'm selling an outfit. There's a story behind everything. And the fact that you can tell a story, it really connects more with people. Yes. So the question is, as a broadcast journalist with expertise in storytelling, how do you believe storytelling can be a powerful tool for empowering women? And one of the reasons I'm asking this question is there are a lot of people here listening to us via social media, via the radio, and peradventure they have businesses or they have stories that they know that, the world needs to hear. And some of them just feel, it's not a big deal. I'm not the first one that will go through this. Other people have gone through the same. How do you now explain the power of storytelling? How can it be a tool to empower women? Thank you.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much for having me first. When we talk about storytelling, in my opinion, personally, storytelling has become an important aspect in my becoming more audacious, more positively centered as a woman. Over time, I've had to listen to different women tell their stories, and it gives me this sense of belonging and a sense of representation. When I see women who have gone before me and are doing amazing work in their different sector, it tells me you can be this person.
I can do that too.
Yes, I have what it takes. And there's this thing about representation. When I'm listening to a woman tell her story about how she was able to go through all of the discrimination in the society, how sometimes people want to put her aside. I heard a story of a woman one time who, according to her, in their tribe, they don't necessarily send the girl to school. They rather send the boys to school and send the girls off early in marriage. Yes. The woman just had to find a way to just make things happen for herself. And this woman I'm talking about today is a PhD holder. So when I listen to her story, sometimes when I feel like I'm doing too much, please just slow down. I go back to listen to her and I say, if this person can achieve
all can do this
with little or no support, then I actually feel like I'm on the right track. So telling your own story and owning the narrative, if there's anything that I'm thankful for that technology is doing for us as women, is the fact that it gives us different platforms to be able to tell our stories. If you cannot come on radio to tell your story, you can go on TV or you can use the podcast. I mean, people record podcasts, YouTube videos in the comfort of their home, and they are changing the narratives out there. So anyhow you look at it, there is something different that you can do. And storytelling is a tool for social change. And people have come to accept it because the advocacy around telling stories is beginning to change. People are seeing things differently because of the things that we're having to talk about every single day. Take, for instance, if I have a mindset of women cannot amount to anything or women cannot do anything, and if every single time I go on social media or I listen to radio and what I get to see each time I turn around are content,
women doing phenomenal things.
Content that actually promotes women and tell you that women have the capability and they can do it, at some point in time, it might not happen immediately, but at some point,
I agree.
My mindset will change and I'll begin to see women differently. So
Absolutely.
putting that story out there actually does a lot. So when it comes to storytelling, away from my job as a broadcast journalist, that these are the things I get to talk about every single day. But I appreciate it when I see women who are willing to tell their stories, regardless of whatever it is that is going to pull them down. And trust me, I give kudos to women who are able to tell their stories, because there's so many people out there who really want the platform or the opportunity to be able to tell their stories. But when you ask them, they'll tell you things like, oh, we're not allowed to speak, or I don't know how partner will feel, or I don't know what these people will feel. There's so many things tying you back, and you don't know if I say this, if they won't use it against me, if my family will have a problem against it, and all of that. So there's so many women out there that we still need to keep talking to encourage them to actually tell their story.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you, Esther, because really, a lot of times, and I say this all the time, every time, I watch Mrs. Awoshika, and she's talking, and I know all the things she's been able to do. When she started her business, she shared a story of how she started, where she is now. It just really reignites that thing in you that, what, I can do this. If she can do it, I can do it. And then you look at all the phenomenal women all over the world. Look at Oprah Winfrey. Look at so many people doing great things. I mean, honestly, look at Hilda Bassi. Things like these are things that remind you that as a woman, you're actually stronger and you have what it takes. The other day, I posted something on my page and said, it's not just about my platform, the What Tribe community. It's not about telling women or, telling women the power they have. It's actually about reminding them, you have it. We are not the one giving you that power. We are not the one giving you that voice. You own it. It's all yours. It's inside of you. However, if you choose to silence that voice, if you do not speak out, if you do not let the world know your story, people will look at you and, they will judge you right from there without even knowing your story.
True.
And your story can actually be a catalyst to help someone else in life. It can be that thing that one person has been waiting for. The other day I shared my story about, the issue I had in UK for overworking. And it was a platform Mrs. Awoshika actually gave me. They suddenly reached out to me and said, oh, we saw that you posted something on your social media page. We're having a live series. And the live series is actually about people who have japa and, people who have actually come back to Nigeria. And your story totally resonates with us. And they called me. I was like, oh, my God. Now, that is what storytelling can do.
Yes.
I have always wanted to speak on the same platform with Mrs. Awoshika. And then one day, they are the one reaching out to me. That really meant a lot to me. But why did that happen? Because I put my story out there.
Definitely.
And then on that stage, on that day, Esther, it was phenomenal.
Of course, you feel that sense of belonging, like, yes, this is my story. This is me owning it.
And then I couldn't, I now got so emotional because from the people out there, they were clapping, they were saying, people were even crying in the audience. I'm like, oh my God. And, at the end, she said to me, Mr. Awoshika said to me, why have you been hiding your story? I'm like, just like you said earlier, sometimes maybe it's not even that we are hiding it. Maybe we don't think that story is good enough. Maybe we are asking ourselves, who cares about my story?
Who wants to listen? Yeah.
Exactly. And like you said earlier, maybe people will laugh at me. Maybe people will mock me. Maybe my family won't like it. Maybe my siblings will be upset. All of those maybes all around us. Some I know maybe cultural and religious stuff and all of that, but we really just have to find a way to ease women into, because men tell their stories all the time.
So I was going to say something in line with what you said around women not wanting to be mocked or people laugh at them when they tell their stories. If there's anything I tell people around me, my friends, family members, I always tell them, if there's anything I'm going to be doing, best believe that I have spoken to the people who matter in my life before I'm going to be implementing that. And if they are fine with it, whoever feels otherwise, it is
you do not care.
it is your opinion. As long as the people who I matter to or people who matter to me are fine with it. Because at the end of the day, people will shut you up so much that you begin to doubt yourself and you are not sure what exactly you want to do. And when it comes to women, I have noticed over time that when it comes to bearing the shame, women just want to wrap themselves up in that shame and not tell their stories. You will see men will goof in different areas and they will still confidently come out and show up every single time like nothing has happened.
You're absolutely right.
Instead, the woman in the house would be the one facing the embarrassment and be like, oh, maybe he didn't do it that way. It wasn't intentional and stuff. Women just find a way to make excuses. But men will go out daring every single day. And that's why I was talking to a friend 2 days ago about why I do not necessarily like the idea of young girls having to watch certain cartoons. I mean, even as an adult, I still watch cartoons. And it's not bad if your girl child watches cartoon. But I am conscious about the kind of content I allow.
The kind of stories they allow into their space.
Yes, and what brought about that conversation is this current trendy movie, Barbie, and the whole fuss around Barbie and all of that. So growing up, you get to watch movies like Snow White, Cinderella, and all of those cartoons, animation and stuff.
And you're looking for that perfect...
Yes, and they're all telling you a story of how women are being vulnerable, how women are the weaker vessels. They just want to relax and not necessarily be daring or be ambitious. And these are the things that we keep feeding our girls with.
Our girl child, absolutely.
Then suddenly the girl is 18 or she's 20. Then you're asking her to go for more. You're asking her to be the woman she wants to be. But this is who you've taught me to be all along. I just want to play with dolls and brush their hair and be fine. That's what I know. So you cannot just bring something that they don't have anywhere inside of them and impose it on me. It might be hard. Some girls might be able to adjust, but not everybody will be able to.
Not everyone.
Yes.
And you know what they say, with what you feed your mind actually expands.
Yes.
You keep feeding your mind this and then people grow. See, Esther, this topic that you talked about right now, this matter that you put your mouth into, seriously, is something we need to have an entire day to talk about. Because the thing is, we need to do better. We need to do better. We need to expose, we grow up. I grew up, I watching Prince Charming coming to save. And I'm like, excuse me, nobody's coming to save you. You've got to be all yourself. Because nobody can really, really make you complete. And this is just the honest truth. And then we grow up thinking, we need, a man completes us. And it's okay to have a man in your life. It's okay to be married. It's okay to have a happy home. All of those things are phenomenal. Yes, but a man will not complete you. A broken woman will marry a man. She will continue to be broken.
Yeah.
If she does not help herself and heal herself and come out and know who she truly is, we need to start telling the right stories to our girl child. And honestly, Esther, you're coming back to talk about this. We're going to have a conversation because we want parents to call in. We want to talk about this. We want parents to come in. We want mothers, fathers to call. And let's talk about all of these things. I mean, seriously, the Barbie thing, I'm not even going to lie. I wasn't crazy about it. I didn't even pay attention to it. I saw a couple of things on social media. I'm like, not happening, not in this space. No, we are not telling another narrative. Not for me, not for my daughter. And, it's not happening. And that's just me. And it's okay for us to understand that some things will always come out with the age of social media, technology, AI, and all of that. But you need to guide your space very, very religiously. You have to be very selfish about the things you let into your space. So I totally agree with you on the topic of that. And we will be back. I hope when I call you, you will not say no. Because I'm not taking no, Esther. I'm definitely not.
I'll try. I'll definitely be here.
I'm really enjoying our gist right now. This is gist time.
Yeah.
So thank you for explaining the power behind, telling your story and all of that. So in your experience, what role do you think storytelling, which is also part of what you mentioned now, but I want to ask that question so that someone listening to me can really relate to the answer. What role do you think storytelling plays in promoting gender equality and empowering women's voices. And I'm very particular about, gender equality.
Okay, so I think storytelling does a lot in doing that. Growing up as a child, I saw so many things growing up, and I was always wanting to ask questions. I read books like Joys of Motherhood. I read books like Tomorrow I Became a Woman, and I wanted to ask more questions. Why were these women being treated this way? And this is because the author of these books at the time, they were coming from a system where we had deeply rooted patriarchal systems, where it's either the man says what, or it is what the man says, however it is. So they showed us this narrative, and at some point, it now begin to look like you having to break down and change some of these things. When you speak, people will tell you, oh no, you're just being a bitter feminist. Oh no, just feminism. I've heard people tell me that a lot of times, and I'm like, it's not necessarily just about feminism. It is you being fair to the other people. And why the idea of storytelling across board, across all platforms is good, because even in mainstream media, we're still talking about the need for adequate women representation in media. We keep having conversations, dialogues around why editors, reporters need to report more women. For every sector, for everything you are going to be doing or you want to talk about, there is always a woman in that sector that you can talk to. Absolutely. So you don't just assume that, all women want to talk about is beauty and fashion. Oh, yes, it is amazing if women want to talk about beauty and fashion. But there are other women who don't want to talk about that. There are other things they want to talk about. Somebody was telling me yesterday about how the Women World Cup has started, and he hasn't heard me say anything about it. And I'm like, okay, fine. In as much as I am pro-women, football is not my thing, but there are other things I can talk about.
And it doesn't make you less of a woman.
Yeah, it doesn't make me less of a woman or less of a girl's girl. So it's just my own ideology of what I want to talk about. Will I celebrate the women in that sector? Oh, definitely I will.
Absolutely.
I will. So we as women, we just need to find a way to buy ourselves spaces into these different platforms. And if there's anything, I encourage a lot of young people when I see them doing their podcast and talking about different things. There are conversations that you cannot necessarily have in the open. I was telling my friend that there are some conversations that even till date, I would not want to sit down and have them with my mom. I don't want to talk about those kind of things with my mom. Let's just have it somewhere at the back of our mind that I'm having such conversations already. No problem. But will I sit to have those kind of conversations we have? No, definitely I will not. Because she might not necessarily see things from my own point of view, which is fine. I mean, you get to hear things like what the elder sees sitting down, the child might not be able to see. I totally understand. And tides are changing, things are changing, and the narratives also have to change. So if people are putting out their different reports and different content about women, if women are not telling their own story, how do we get to achieve what we want? Now, talking about gender equality, there are in some conversations, I actually like to toe the line of gender equity, because for gender equity, we are looking at what is being fair to everybody and giving them what exactly is fair to them. Take, for instance, if you ask a man to resume at work for 7 a.m. and you ask a woman to resume at work for 8 a.m., it's some kind of fairness, because you are taking into consideration the fact that the woman is going to have to take care of her family, take care of her children before setting out. If you give the woman the same deadline or the same resumption time, she'll definitely meet up. But will she put in some more extra work to actually make those things happen? Of course she will. But will she be able to deliver? Yes, she will. So when it comes to telling our stories, selling the narratives, oh yes, we definitely have to do it. And representation matters. It matters a lot. If I, as a young woman, working woman, and I'm just struggling with how to create like a balance in my life and create balance in every area, if I cannot find a woman who has actually gone through that part before, who has done all of that before in her life, to actually tell me, oh, you can achieve this, you can do this, I probably would just be there. I'll be struggling with a lot of things because I don't know where to go to. I don't know who to speak to. But as it is right now, and for the benefit of storytelling across different platforms, I can point to different platforms, different pages that I can go to, and the kind of content that I need per time, I'll be able to get it from such platforms. I don't necessarily have to send the woman a DM. I don't need to send her a private message. Yes. So we keep speaking, we keep picking content from their different pages, and I can draw strength. And it just reminds me that there is definitely somebody somewhere that is going through what I am going through, or that has gone through it before, and I can follow like a blueprint. So women being able to tell their story just gives younger women and upcoming people in those different sectors like a blueprint to follow. You talked about how you have always admired Ibukun Awosika, and imagine having an opportunity to be on a platform where she was. And I don't know how, but whatever hormones are going to be released at that point would definitely be happy hormones, because you cannot just imagine that the days that you long for are here.
I like that hormones part.
Yes, because you told your story. So if you don't tell your story, it won't happen. And in this age and time of social media where technology is so powerful, there's sometimes when you buy a product and you don't like it, and you probably go on Twitter and you make a post, and people start talking about it, people start giving their own reviews about how they don't like it. The brand will reach out to you and they would apologize
themselves with immediate alacrity.
Yes, they would apologize. That's what storytelling can do. I saw a video, I think 2 weeks ago, about this preacher who was preaching about how a lot of women, young and old, have fibroids because they end up being promiscuous and they have different DNAs being left in their bodies. I watched this video and I cringed so much, because this man was talking to an audience of we had at least 500 people, people in that space. And you are telling this to them. You're not telling this to them from a place of authority or technical know-how. You're just spewing whatever it is that you've gathered somewhere.
You still comes out of your mouth.
Yes, beer parlor conversations and those kind of stuff. So I listened to it and I was worried, because if there are no people who would come out and debunk this kind of conversations, there are women who are going to be out there suffering with their partners because they have fibroids, and their partner, because somebody somewhere said it is because they've had to do stuff with different people. That's why they have it. So I saw it and I was worried, like, somebody needs to own this narrative. Somebody needs to talk about this and debunk it, because so many women out there, we don't, life is not...
what is the medical backup for such a message, really?
The message was just, there was no element of truth in it at all. But he sold it to these people. And in that congregation, we have both men and we have women. Possibly, there are other women in that congregation who probably are not so literate, and they will believe what this preacher has said to them. Now, maybe tomorrow, her daughter comes home having fibroids, and she goes back to what the preacher said the other day and say, oh, yes, that's it. You've been promiscuous all around. You've been doing so many things. That's what the pastor said. Without realizing that there might be something else that your daughter needs to treat, but because of what has been...
Because of what's ingrained in you.
Yes. So that's what she's going to believe. But if, with the power of storytelling, we can come out and talk about these things on different platforms and say, no, this is not the right thing. Bring up medical practitioners to come talk about it.
Absolutely.
And that is one of the things I actually love that you do, is this health clinic that you do on
the health talk. Yes.
Yes. I love it so much, because away from what we do on Radio Doctor on radio, this is also taking that conversation to people on social media as it is right now. Trust me. Some people in ages have not even put on their TV to watch TV at all, but would rely on what they find on social media.
Absolutely.
Yes. So when they can get the right information on social media, it does us a lot of good. So somebody is not somewhere beating her daughter up for having fibroids. Meanwhile, we're not doing anything. Yes. So I watched that video and I could not just understand where this was coming from at all. So that's what storytelling can do for us across different sectors. If there's anything you want to talk about that concerns a woman, there's always a platform that is open to talking about it. Always.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much for saying that, Esther. And talking about fibroids, honestly, there is no truth in what the said pastor has said, because really, I still had a doctor a few days ago talking, and we also actually talked about this fibroid. It's more of an African thing. As a matter of fact, they said most people that have it is Africans and some Latinos. And, right now they are still not even WHO is not able to pinpoint exactly why it is happening with African women. So a man just going out there, a pastor just going out there to talk about saying it's because they're promiscuous and all. There is no truth in it, and I'm glad you actually talked about it. And somebody saying on social media said Ignorance, absolutely. But the painful part is this same ignorance. People would take that information because a lot of people have seen their man of God, woman of God as the Alpha and Omega. Whatever they say, they cannot lie. You know, they know it all. And that's why you hear stories of people going to eat grass and, you know, all of this thing because their spiritual leader has told them to do it. So we need to filter the things we take in. We need to filter because it's also about the story that you are feeding yourself. This all boils down to storytelling. When somebody keeps telling you a particular story, before you know it, it thinks. You know the way our brain works. There are some things you think that you are not taking it in. You say, no, I'm not, I don't believe it. But part of your brain is taking bits and pieces of it and it's storing it up. It's storing it up. And one day that thing will accumulate, and that thing that you never believed for so long, you begin to question yourself. Might it be true? Is it possible? You start to question all the things that you believe because that story keeps coming back and coming back to you, whether it's true or false. So it's just so amazing. And that's why I believe, Esther, that we really need to, find ways. I don't know, are there ways you think we can give women, and I thank Women Radio, honestly, because Women Radio really focuses on women issues, even though, yes, you do family, but it's always from a woman's perspective. Because men have platforms, there are too many platforms for men. Women need this opportunity, and I see everything that Women Radio does for women, the NGO work, the awards, just recognizing women, giving them the platform. So the question is, what are the other things we can actually do as a woman and a gender equality or advocate that you are? What are the other things you think we can do, to encourage, to give women that opportunity to share their story? But above that, to ease their mind into knowing and feeling safe. Creating a safe space for women. How do you think we women can do? Because I was saying earlier, I wasn't sure if you heard me, that a lot of times, even when women want to talk, other women are the ones silencing other women. And they are telling you that what's the big deal? Are you the first one? Before you answer that question, there was a time ago I interviewed a lady, and she shared a story that she was about to commit suicide. She said, she had been trying to get pregnant for years. It wasn't happening. She relocated to the US. She tried. And then she said she got pregnant and, she had bought everything. Then she lost the pregnancy. And in the bid of the mom trying to console her, the mom obviously meant no harm. Because she's your mother, she feels your pain. She knows what you're going through. But in the deed of trying to console her, the mom said to her that, you're not the first one that would lose a child. And you won't even be the last one. It happens. And you see that thing, really, 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 she said it was from that message, she decided that, I'm going to make this my mother feel what I felt. So imagine when she was sharing her story, honestly, everyone that joined that clubhouse, we were just crying. So she said, her mom said that thing. And she asked herself, if you are the one that lost your child, even though maybe you are trying to console me, do you think that is what you would want to hear at that point? That mother was trying to sell a story to her and say to her that, you know what, you will be fine. Other people have gone through what you're going through. Don't let it end your life. Don't let it stop. So sometimes people come from a place of love. Yes. But the thing is, at that point, for that person, they don't see it that way. And so she said, she had gone to an hotel. She had bought everything she was going to use, to commit suicide. And the story, in fact, it's a long story. I don't want to get into it, but thank God, eventually,
I can only
miracle happened, and she's still alive today. And when she was sharing her story, she's like, women, we just need to be mindful of the things we say, because sometimes people are more sensitive. A lot of stories have been shut down. A lot of women have been silenced. Why? Because other women have told them their story is not unique. You are not the only one going through that. It's not a big deal. You don't have to share it. You don't have to blow it out of proportion. So what are the advice? What kind of advice do you have for any woman listening to you right now? To let them know whether they are the one going through something or they are trying to be there for somebody. Those are two different perspectives. I want you to really talk to us about that. Thank you.
Okay. All right, thank you very much. And really, the story of that lady is touching because just yesterday, somebody was telling me about how her aunt had a baby through surrogacy, and one of their family members came to the baby's party and was telling her that, oh, see the way you are dancing. If you had that baby yourself, you won't be able to dance this much. And it really made her feel so much hurt. So we're talking about it, and I just could not understand why a family member would want to hurt another family member with such words. I can understand that this lady just had this baby not by herself, but surrogacy doesn't make her less of a mother. But why would you rub that in her face? And of all days, the day the baby is being named is when you chose to just be that person.
Those hurtful words.
Yes. So sometimes I hear a lot of people say that some of the pains and things that women go through come from other women. And do I necessarily blame these women? I would say no. I would say no because it is coming from a place of growing up. This is what they've heard over time, growing up in a patriarchal setting. This is what they've come to understand. They don't know any other thing. There are some women till date that when you tell their sons to go and cook or wash plates, they will look at you like, you as the woman, what are you doing in the house? And what I'm just trying to say is these things, and they're not gender roles. If you send your son to school and there's no other person there, or there's no woman there, he's definitely going to fend for himself.
He will.
Why won't you teach him about these things from when he's a child? And that's why I always say it every time I have the opportunity to talk about how women need to support women. I feel like a lot of older women are not supporting the younger ones enough. And I will say this one is from a personal experience. There was a time when I visited the gynecologist and I got a particular diagnosis, and I was looking around for like older women who probably have been through this or have had the same experience. And it will shock you to know that most people are not willing to speak. Like, why don't you want to talk about it? I mean, I am in that shoe. That's why I'm asking you. You need to know. Because in as much as I've gotten medical advice and the doctor has spoken to me, but I want to know somebody whose body feels that way. I want to know how they were able to manage it. But I could not find women who were willing to talk. So what I started doing was I would go online, go on YouTube, go to different websites, just go and look for content anywhere. I would find so much that at some point, I just had to think, like, why am I always looking for content? So it felt as though that was like the only thing I was looking for. But all I just wanted was a human being that had gone through it that I could actually talk to and explain how I felt. But we don't see a lot of younger, older women filling that gap for younger women. Yes, I mean, life is hard. People have their own family issues that they're having to deal with. They have their career. Absolutely. But when we have communities...
An opportunity to actually help another woman.
Yes, communities like the World Tribe where women can come together. I can find somebody who fits. I remember the conversation we had, the episode where we spoke about friendship with Rosemary, where I was telling her that I try as much as possible to have a friend for every single thing. Now, it's not about using people. It's about finding who fits. Kiki might be my friend who can talk to me about medical terms, but might not necessarily be that friend I want to talk to when I want to talk about advancing in my career. Doesn't make her less of a person or make her less of a woman.
It brings a different kind of value to your life.
Yes, it brings some kind of value, and it just makes a whole lot of difference. So in this regard, I'm just going to ask for a lot of older women to be more lenient and listen to younger women. Because these things, they're stemming from what has been told or sold to us over time. And that was why I was trying to make the example of this animation and movies that we get to allow the girl child watch. It's not bad. I mean, even as an adult, I get to watch some of these movies, but I just visualize to myself, I know what information I'm taking away from this. Or maybe just because...
But children don't.
Yes, but children do not. So, in a case whereby you go to schools and somebody is asking the girl to always be in the food and nutrition class, and they're asking the boy to the basic
The
tech
science.
class, to the science class, that's where it starts from. Because
To the AI class, that they are the ones that can do techie things.
What you are selling to the girl from that onset is that I don't have to do too much to be seen. I don't have to be out there. I don't have to stress or labor. Then somewhere along the line, when she's 20, you're asking her, what are you doing with your life? You don't want to be like your brother.
What did you teach me?
Yes, you now start comparing her to her brother who probably has a master's already, but you did not give her the opportunity to be all of that. And sometimes it is also hard for women because we do not put in a lot of pressure or like the boys when we're having to raise them. Then you end up giving this your daughter who you've not been able to equip properly. You give her to a man out in marriage, which is fine. But she goes there because she doesn't necessarily have a mind of her own, or she's not empowered enough. She just goes there and she's been swayed around and she doesn't necessarily know how to go about it. Coming back to the mother or other older women who she would assume that will be able to put her right on track, they will just tell her what they know. They will just tell her what they know. That's why sometimes when some mothers, older women tell the younger ones, oh, you're just being stubborn, you're just being a rebel and stuff. It is because our ideologies do not align. Doesn't make me
don't align. It doesn't make you a bad person.
Yes. Doesn't make me a bad person. Doesn't mean I don't want to listen to you. But this is just what it is, and this is
we don't flow on the same energy. Absolutely.
Yes. So this is where all of this start from, and for every opportunity that women get, and I really hope that people will give more women the opportunity to be able to air their opinions and say things from their own experiences, their own challenges. And the power of collaboration can do this for us. I have seen a lot of men who are he for she's, men who would tell the stories of women even better than some women. People have their strength. People have their strength in different areas. There's some people, when they pick up their pen, they will write so beautifully that you can actually picture yourself through what they have written. We have good writers, good authors everywhere. And there's some people who might not necessarily be able to write, but if they listen to you, they'll be able to put your story.
They'll just be like, wow.
Yes. And make something good out of your story.
As
it is right now, there are so many ways where you can tell a story. It's either you are making maybe animation. People even go as far as making comedy skits. That actually,
of course.
Yes, and that's the line that we get to talk about in solution journalism, where it's not just about talking about the story. What solution are you preferring?
Being creative about it.
Preparing
solutions as well. Absolutely.
You see people stage dramas, you see people make short clips, and it's selling a message. So behind everything, there's a message, there's an agenda that they're selling with that item that you are watching or that you are listening to. So it's just for you to actually pay attention to what is being sold out to you. So I would not want to just sit down anywhere and just listen to anybody or just anybody talk. There has to be something I am taking out of that conversation.
Absolutely. This is so profound, Esther, because really, come to think of it, when people do movies, they're telling a story.
Yes.
And that's why you should filter what you're watching. It's so funny, though, because, I'm one of those people that love movies. And a lot of times I've heard motivational speakers or people say things like, you want to go far, you want to make it in life, don't sit and watch Netflix. And I'm like, excuse me, I am making it far in life. It does not stop me from watching movie. And it's okay. If it's working for me, it is fine. Yes. Because for me, I believe that movies are storytellers. They tell you stories. It's funny the way I watch my movies and people laugh at me because I'm either taking pictures or having my notepad and writing down things from movies. For me, really, I am learning I never ever watch one movie and there's not one thing I've learned from it that I've written down, whether it's a style that I've seen that I want to try, or whether it's a quote somebody said, or whether it's a story that I've heard. And exactly. So just like you said, there's always something we should learn from something. But the bottom line is, find out what is working for you and begin to tell your story in your own way, from your comfort zone. and let us do better by supporting people rather than silencing them and saying, oh, what's the big deal? You're not the only one that came first in class. Oh, what's the big deal? You're not the only one that lost the husband. Oh, what's the big deal? You're not the only one whose business is going bad. There are some people in your life, every time you tell them something, they always want to counter it. Rather than, listen to your story and actually maybe whether you just need somebody to listen or you need somebody to just give you a shoulder or you even need somebody to advise you. There are some people, for everything you say, they have their own story to counter with.
Yeah. There's some people like that.
I just move away. I can't deal. I really can't. It's okay. I know you have your own problem, but you're not the one that said, I called you to share my problem. Just listen to me. Don't listen. Esther, I called you and said, my business is there. And the next thing, it's not only you. My business. And then I even forget about my own. It's not even let me share. Let us. I said to my friend a few days ago, I said, Yoruba people will say, Laura Lati, Yara Lati Gboro. Okay. And it means that be quick to listen, but be very slow to talk.
Respond.
Yeah, to respond, because sometimes that person just needs few minutes of your time to listen. So let us do better by listening. I mean, it's been an amazing session with you today, and I know we're running out of time. I just want you to, as we wrap up, give us your word of advice, for women who wish to share their stories but face challenges, just quick encouragement or ways that you think they can, because I only have 4 more minutes. But you already know because you're on point.
All right. So what I would just say is to women out there listening to me, or people who are definitely going to listen to this episode much later, is there is a lot of strength that you can draw either by listening to other people or sharing your own story. There is no story that is irrelevant. Every story is unique. It might be just something about how you were able to balance your work front and your home, how you were able to pay attention in the home and pay attention at work. It is a story. There is an audience for that story outside. It might be how you were able to navigate mental health, being burnt out and being overwhelmed. There is an audience for that story out there.
Absolutely.
So for every single thing that you go through, you have to be willing to share. Just know that there's somebody out there who is going to draw strength from what you have said. There are people who probably want to shame you and want to mock you for what you have said, but just ignore it. I tell myself, the moment I am comfortable enough talking to somebody about something that I'm going through or that I feel, that's the end. That's just the end. I don't talk to people. I mean, I have people who are very close to me in my life that I could be going through something and will be...
And they won't even know.
And you won't know, and I won't tell you. But the minute I'm able to talk to you about that thing, that's just the end. It just feels like...
a different level.
Yes, like I'm done with it. There's something my friend will say. My friend will say, if something happens right now, I will sit and cry. But the moment that I am done crying, that's the end. Like,
welcome to my world.
that thing doesn't have any power over me
over you anymore. Absolutely.
At that point, what I'm just thinking is solution. So there's always somebody out there who is going to listen to you with an open mind, regardless of whatever the society is going to say.
Thank you so much, Esther. Wow. I've had a very, very amazing session today. Trust me. You're coming back again pretty soon because we have so many topics I feel, we can tackle together. So I'd like to say a very big thank you for being here today, dishing it out, and really sharing your deep insights and wealth of experience with us. It's been so profound. I am so grateful for the gift of you. Thank you so much for being here today,
Thank you so
Esther.
much for having me as well. Thank you. Do have
the pleasure is mine. You too. All righty. Thank you to all my listeners. And if you try to call us, please. The topic was so intense. I really wanted us to talk some more. So next week is here again. I would like to say a very big thank you to my producer, Blessing Agbeto, and my executive producer, Tom Okewale Shonaya, and my executive assistant, Rosemary Benbasi. Don't forget to join us again next week, Friday at exactly 5 p.m. on Real Women, Real Talk with Kiki Okewale. I am Kiki Okewale. Till you hear from me again, make sure you stay safe, stay blessed, and stay happy. And don't let this whole fuel issue get to you. Just try to unwind over this weekend. If you have to watch a movie, if you have to sleep in, if you have to just do whatever makes you happy, just do it. Tomorrow is going to be a better day, okay? So that's it for today. Thank you so much for joining. I will be here again next week, Friday. Till then, stay.
WFM 91.7.